Here.
If you need truth, this is the place for you. No need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word is self-approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences. Let love heal all that's broken.
And shalom to you and great day. I pray you're having a wonderful opportunity at life and work today and seeing that the grace of Elohim is true and real for you. I want you to know that there is nothing but love in the atmosphere today. Yep, that's right. I said love. I wasn't being weird. It's just what it is. And we are here today on the Proceeding Word, trying to bring forth the word of Elohim to you. And we're glad to be able to do that. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're here on the Proceeding Word. And it's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We are a little bit late today, but we are here. We up in here as well. Every Wednesday night, we're here for our Darash Kingdom Ministries Bible study. Hope you'll join in for that on 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Always a joy. Then on Thursdays, in the course of this week, we're also doing the Thursday Bible Book Club. You should join in for that. It's also a pleasure and an absolute joy to listen and read the writ together as we do things according to his plan. Then, of course, you know that we're Sabbath keepers here. So what we do is we make sure that every Friday at Sabbath, every Friday at sundown, and every Saturday at sundown, we dedicate our hearts for those 24 hours to only his word, because that's going to be a help today as we talk about what weapons help build, what we do to build weapons against us. And I want y'all to make sure you understand this today. Also, we are here on Maroth the Sabbath. That's every Sunday at 10:15-ish a.m. On those times for our broadcast. And we had a very enlightening programming on yesterday. Anybody on Clubhouse, did you enjoy yesterday's Maroth the Sabbath service and study teach? Anybody about the Sabbath? Nobody? Anybody? All right. Well, if you did, if you're on Clubhouse, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, please make sure you make a mark and let us know that you're there. I only see YouTube people here today. I don't know where my Clubhouse is. I hope everything is well. Let me see if Clubhouse is actually working. Not Clubhouse, but Facebook. Yep, Facebook is working, but I only got YouTubers on today. All right, maybe Facebook didn't send out the notification, but Proceeding Word, we are here. We up in here. We in cheer. Check Kayla. Good to see you, Kayla. Good to see you again. All right, listen, we want to talk about weapons that are being formed. And while we're finishing this announcement run, I want you to know that you are also to be aware that coming up in April, just 4 months away, it's going to be quicker than you think. It's going to be on you before you realize it. You will be in the feast season of Pesach. The year 5784 is the year you're in. 2024 is the year you're in. And on Pesach, Nisan 14, it will be April the 21st at sundown. You want to get prepared. Tune in for Wednesday so we can show you what that looks like, so you can start prepping yourself, getting prepared, bringing your body, getting your time right, getting your offerings, whatever you need to do. And then we'll be moving right along. You're going to be 4 straight days of 4 days in that month of worship unto Elohim. So just be mindful of it. The programming is there for you to see, read, and understand. All right. And so remember, we don't do this for likes, y'all. We're not here to make you popular or to be popular. I don't care to be popular. Being popular, I don't really like it because of the behind the curtain drama and problems you have with being popular and liked. We do this for kingdom life. I do this to live. I'm sure you do as well. Let us make it our business to live. One more announcement, though. We are still in our 31-day challenge for reading of the book of Ephesians, chapter 6, verses 5 through 9. Ephesians, chapter 6, verses 5 through 9. Every day, before you start your day, read it that you might follow its instructions. If there's anybody out there who's been keeping this challenge for the last 31 days, don't it feel good not to have to be on some stealing Daniel's fast, but you can actually do something that Yahweh asked you to do? Just do what Yahweh said to do. You know what I mean? Read this every morning when you get up, and do this every day when you get out there. Start your new year like that. How about that? And if you had any, I'm going to do at the end of this I want to produce a opportunity for those of you who've been keeping this particular challenge to come in and let us know how that challenge manifested for you and brought you through that month of January, this month of January. So on the 31st, somewhere around there, we're going to have you guys put your testimonies together. So you can start now. If you're experiencing something from this day back to January 1 or this day forward to January 31st, that you can say, doing that day, when I got approached that day and dealt with what I dealt with that day, here is how that day went. And I'm so glad Yahweh had me practicing and living that out in that challenge. So glad I took the challenge. So if you got something that's going to be, I'm so glad I took the challenge. We're going to have a day on preceding word where we're going to talk about, I'm so glad I took the challenge. Matter of fact, those who are doing memes for me, I need you to put that together as a preceding word tile. I'm so glad I took the challenge. And we want to have a testimonial. I'm so glad I took the challenge testimonials. All right. We're going to do that. I don't want you to tell your business, but I do want you to give in theory what you went through in theory, and let that be something that the world can see that, hey, I really read Ephesians 6, and if I didn't, I would have taken this situation the wrong way. Right. So I want you to do that. It'll be a great thing to do. I find that is always a joy to have it done. Don't forget, give this a share. If you're with us on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and hit that bell over there as well. And you can make a comment down in the YouTube. Let us know that you're there. We are trying to get our followers up. We're like years behind. Just help us get caught up, please. I feel terrible begging y'all to get caught up. So if you're not a subscriber on our YouTube channel, go to VWJ Ministries on YouTube and become a subscriber. We don't want anything from you. Don't want your money. That ain't what we're here for. We do want you to be able to tune in, and we do want to be able to get a bit of this out in a different way. And YouTube happens to be a platform that can help to do that without encroaching on anybody's life. As well, those of you on Facebook, hit the heart sign and like the page VWJ on Facebook, and then like this broadcast. Like the broadcast and then make a comment in the broadcast, because the more activity you guys give us on this platform, the more Facebook puts this out in places that think like we think, that might not know we exist, and they might get opportunity to come and hear what apparently you guys are enjoying. So if you're enjoying it, there is a way you can evangelize without knocking on somebody's door and being invading of their space, but you just tell Facebook by typing in amen, or I like that word, or teach apostle, you funny, because y'all don't be telling me I'm funny. You funny, apostle. You can just type something in, not a whole bunch, just type something in, and those keystrokes create algorithms. Those algorithms create streams, and those streams create views. And yeah, we're not here for the likes, but if you like what you're hearing, feel free to share it with other people. I'm here just because I want to do it. But Facebook said, if you get enough people viewing, we'll pay your ministry to do it even better. So that's why we're doing it. We don't want the likes, but the algorithm and the platform, the way it's constructed, is telling us, here is what we can do for you if you'll consider it. So we're considering it, but we didn't start it for likes. All right. And all that housekeeping out of the way, let's get into our day's conversation and topic. Remember, the Bible declares that man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh, who is our Elohim. That's how man does live. You can find that in Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 3. You can also find it in another part of the writ as well. However, I want to make sure today's topic is very clear. We often talk about, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I want you to understand weapons formed. I want you to understand weapons formed. So let's go to Isaiah chapter number 54. I'll put my Bible up on the screen so you guys can read it and see with me, as I always love to do. Do y'all like when I put my Bible on the screen so y'all can read and share and whatnot? I know y'all in y'all offices and y'all can't pull your Bibles up so y'all don't get in trouble. But we're going to do it for y'all anyway. Moderators, please make sure you bring our people up at the bottom of the screen, please. Give them invitations up on Clubhouse. Those of you on YouTube, would you please make sure moderators for YouTube, you're there. And we're also looking for it on our moderators for Facebook. Let's go. Isaiah chapter 54. Somebody say, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Just say it. You ain't got to type it. Just say it. No weapon. Or you can just type in no weapon formed against me shall prosper. No weapon formed against me. That's what I want y'all to put that in there. Just type it in. No weapon formed against me. Type it in there. Everybody type it in. Put it on Clubhouse, put it on YouTube, put it on Facebook, put it on IG. Come on, let's do it. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I'm gonna do it myself. I want y'all to get it because we all need to do it. We all need to do it. Let the enemy of your faith know, no weapon formed against me. All right, there you go. I did it. You did it. Somebody else did it. Hey there, Karen. Good to see you. Good to be with you today. Hey there, Esther. Shalom to you and your mother. Good to see you. Good to have you in with us today. Hope this is not too late. We're going to just get you some good stuff and let y'all guys go. All right, so here we go. Verse number 17. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to read it, but then I'm going to back into it so you guys can catch this. We always talk about this. People preach about it. We think we understand it. And we're doing a whole bunch of stuff with it. But just pay attention for a minute. No weapon that is formed against you shall prosper. Verse 17 on the screen. And every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment, thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, says Yahweh. Now, the other day we were talking and having a conversation right here on the preceding word about a few different things. And one of them was preaching don't make you righteous. Preaching about righteousness doesn't make you righteous. It encourages you to be righteous. You still have to choose this day who you're going to serve and what you're going to do, right? So we all know clearly that just talking about being righteous don't make you righteous, right? Y'all give me a thumbs up. Let me know, yeah, you're right. Just talking about, preaching about, being a preacher of righteousness don't make you the presenter righteous. It gives you and the recipient the suggestion for what righteousness is, but you still have to choose to do and live according to the instructions rendered. Now, that's important. So I want you to understand that many times when you would speak the words of righteousness, which are the words of the Torah, the words of the commandments of Elohim, right? Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh our Elohim. That's what's in your Bible, those first 5 books and of the Bible. And then you have the first 5 books of the New Testament. Those 10 books are the best way to epitomize the word of Elohim spoken to each and every one of you. Now, in one sense, you have the prophecy of Yeshua in the first 5 books of the Bible, and then you have the manifestation of Yeshua in the first 5 books of the New Testament, right? So that's why those 10 books are sort of kind of key amongst the 66 books or the 84 books of the Apocrypha, whichever Bible you're reading. Now, we talk that, preaching righteousness don't make you righteous. Selling righteousness don't make you righteous. And many of us, because we talk so daggone much, because we just talk what we have heard, we pick up, we carry a bone, we pick up, we carry a story, we pick up, we speak these things that are not his things, that are not his right way of living. That's what righteousness is. And the right way of living is found in his word. So his word is righteousness. Somebody say that Torah equals righteousness. Just type it into the queues. I want you to type it in on Facebook, type it in on Clubhouse, type it in on YouTube. Go ahead. Righteousness equals Torah or vice versa, however you do it. Okay. Now, I want you to understand this because it's very key. Torah equals righteousness. Thank you, Simone. Righteousness equals Torah. Torah equals righteousness. So when we talk about our righteousness being of him, we are honoring his word. Now, listen. Listen, 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 listen. I'm going to give you a few passages, and then I want you to understand how, in one way, not always, but one way specifically, more prominent than you and I as believers think, the enemy forms weapons against you. Okay? This is not some sales pitch. I'm going to get right into this now. Ways, the one way today that the enemy forms weapons against you using you. Now, the thing is, we always say that, well, ain't no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and God got me. And if my enemy come at me one way, he gonna push him back 7 different ways. And we can say that, Mr. and Mrs. Holy, Mr. and Mrs. Church, Mr. and Mrs. Saved, Mr. and Mrs. Christian, Mr. and Mrs. Way of the believer, whatever you want to be. But many times we don't realize how we give the enemy ammunition against us by the things we say that are not his words. Which is why I think it very important, and people don't think I'm trying to sell you anything on Sabbath keeping, but I will reveal to you the purpose and the manipulative and the rehearsal of Sabbath keeping. In Sabbath, the requirement is you come in on his day, you do it his way, and you don't speak your own words. Many people don't realize that when David made this statement, you ready? Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Many don't realize that that table prepared in the presence of his enemy is that the seventh day, the Sabbath day, is a day evil and good exist. Humans, beasts of field exist. The seventh day is the day when you do it Yah's way. Your enemy, though had been on your heels for 6 days, has to repose from chasing you down, trying to trap you, trying to tempt you, trying to give you problems. That's why the Sabbath day references thy name is a strong tower. The righteous run into it and they are saved. So Torah is you coming into him. And if you happen to know his name, there's some benefits to that. But when you come into him and you come into his name, Yahweh Rapha for your healing, Yahweh Nisi for your banner, being your attorney, right? Your counselor, Yahweh Yirith for your provisions. Yahweh Sidkenu for your righteousness, your efforts at righteousness. Help me to be more righteous. Yahweh Makadeshkim, cleanse me when I'm not righteous, right? Yahweh Uzah, be my strength when I've done everything I can. As Don McClurkin's song would say, having done all, to stand. After you've done all you can, just stand, but you're exhausted, you're exasperated, and you're just totally expired of strength. Yahweh Uzah is your strength. So when you run into him, particularly on a Sabbath, Yahweh is going to provide that attribute of his name. Because you have known my name, Psalms chapter 91, go down to verses 13, 14, and read through 15. Because you have known my name, I will deliver you when you are in trouble. I will be with you. I will grant you long life. I will show you my salvation because you know my name. And God ain't his name. Lord ain't his name. Lord ain't his name. And sorry, y'all, Jesus ain't his name. I love Jesus. I love Yahshua HaMashiach. Y'all call him Jesus the Christ. Love, 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 love him. However, that's not the name that will bring you out of your situation. What did you say? Exactly. That's not the name that's going to bring you out of your situation. And so I need many of you to understand that. Moderators, my board, please. I need many of you to understand that because these are the things we need to pay attention to when we're looking at what has to go on and what is really, the day and the way that we are operating. So when we see that our knowledge of his name, our knowledge of his righteous words are to be spoken in our atmosphere because we are made in his image. Listen, therefore, when Elohim, Genesis, the book of beginning, called Bereshit in Hebrew, Genesis is Bereshit in Hebrews, it means the book of beginnings. So when the beginnings were here, Elohim spoke, and there was. You and I, our words are creative. If we speak his words, they create righteousness for our community. If we speak the world's words from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, then we speak knowledge of good and evil. And that's when people get judgmental. That's when people think they know it all. That's when people think that they can be sarcastic. That's when people think and become narcissistic. People become conceited. People become know-it-alls, feel entitled. Right? So when you're speaking those words of the world, they seem justifiable. They seem reasonable. You rationale everything with the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But when you speak the words of his righteousness, you create a righteous environment. I'm going to get to David. I didn't leave David. Stay with me. But when you speak the words that Adam forcibly put on us by eating the tree of knowledge of good and evil, when we speak from that perspective, when we speak from that pool of writings, we actually create chaos in our environment. So you wonder why your neighborhoods and your churches and your companies and your families are so filled with chaos and drama. And I can't with you. Oh my God. Oh, you get all that drama and unmitigated foolishness. All of that is because you're speaking words that are not in Elohim's righteousness. And sometimes we're speaking too many words. And the more words you speak, the more drama you invite into your world. And you trying to figure out, I'm a good person indeed, but why do I keep getting drama-filled people around me? Because though you might do good, sometimes you speak of the world and the world is attracted to the world. But if you are a good deed type person and you speak the righteousness of his Torah over the world of the knowledge of good and evil, then you'll attract righteous spirit, righteous type people, righteous type community. So what you speak is what you attract. Remember, out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth speaks. Does that make sense? So when we look at these types of things, I want you to understand that though we can cry the promises of Elohim, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, you also need to be responsible to understand how you are helping the enemy form weapons against you. That's why we're here. Somebody say, what you speak is what you attract.
What you speak is what you attract.
Oh, y'all don't believe that? Y'all working. That's going to be y'all excuse today. Y'all working. And y'all know I bother y'all about not responding, right? I don't really need y'all to respond. It's just to make sure you're engaged. Because some of y'all, if I say it, you'd be like, well, you know we working and we going to lose our job. If Mr. Apostle, man, if we got to come off microphone and say something. Okay, so just chill. Just know I'm bothering y'all. But listen, what you speak is what you attract. You speak hood in the streets, the hood's going to attract you in the streets. You speak articulate English in the streets, then articulate people are going to be attracted to you. Guaranteed. But you can also attract others who may be wanting to learn from you or who may want to bring you down. Ooh, didn't know that, did you? Right. So who you are also attracts haters. Who you are also attracts pros of your position, and who you are also attracts cons of your position. So your articulation and your conversation determines your elevation and your radiance, and all that comes around you is going to be based on what you speak. Out of the abundance of your heart, your mouth speaks. Now, here is why this is important. Many people are saying, no weapon formed against me shall prosper, right? But you got to realize you oftentimes are what's forming the weapons against you. Note that the enemy doesn't already have a weapon for you. The enemy doesn't already have a weapon for you, because you and I are uniquely and wonderfully made. So you're different from me. I'm different from you. We may be familiar or similar in the fact that we both got two hands, two elbows, two ears, two eyes. I don't have false eyelashes on, though. I'm just going to put that out there. And I don't have a man piece on. But we got heads, right? With or without hair. I'm just, it's Monday. We're gonna have fun, right? So we got two legs, we got two shoulder blades, we got a stomach, we got colon, we got all those types of things, right? We're familiar to each other in that regard, but we are different in what we and how we do things, how we were nurtured, how we were cultured. And in some Christian faiths, there is a whining spirit. There is, in some church environments, there is I'm just going to tell you how I feel. I got to tell her. I can't keep quiet, can't hold a secret, can't keep nothing, have no confidentiality whatsoever. You just got to tell it, can't hold water, a drop of water in a 10-gallon bucket. Now that's pretty bad. Right? But there are ways we've been nurtured in particular cultures that cause us to operate in certain types of ways. So when we're looking at the fact that what we say forms a hedge of protection around us, or it gives the enemy what it needs to uniquely and specifically attack and attract you out from the kingdom of Elohim you say you so beloved and want to be a part of. And once it gets you out beyond that wall, you become prey. So I want to make sure you understand this as we go forward in this half an hour, right? When you speak, sometimes you don't need to speak as much as you speak. Now, if you're a presenter, okay, you should speak. But even if you're a presenter of a lecture, of a TED Talk, of a sermon, of a conference speaker, you ought not talk about anything not completely directly with empirical data be related to your topic and your subject. Stay on point. Don't venture off what you haven't researched and have an emphatic position on. Because once you do, the enemy of your faith will play you the same way he played Ishai in the very beginning. See, in the very beginning, Elohim spoke and there was creative power. In the beginning, Adam spoke what Elohim gave him, and he was residing in the garden. Hey, everything was cool. Adam, that's a giraffe. Adam, that's a kumquat. Adam, that's a palm tree. Adam, that's a river called Hiddekel. Adam, that's a garden. Adam, that over there, yeah, that's parsley. Adam, that's an apple. Adam, that's a pear. Adam, this is a banana. Adam, that's a baby gorilla. Adam, that's an alligator. And as long as Adam spoke what Elohim said, the garden flourished and was beautiful. But the moment Elohim said, Adam, that's the tree of life. Adam, that's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, Adam, of all the thousands of trees I've shown you and you've spoken over, do not eat the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The moment you do, you become separated from everything I've done for you. Now, when Adam ate the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and began to speak from that, he was kicked out of the garden just as promised, right on cue. So when you and I take the opportunity to speak outside of his righteousness, don't be shocked when things of unrighteousness sort of kind of be gravitating towards you. You're like, why is this nasty minded? Why is this arrogant person? Why is this narcissist? Why is this coming at me? Why are y'all all in my space? What if you don't even realize it? But the things you say outside of Elohim's righteousness automatically cause the gravitating to happen to your words of the things your words represent. So if you don't speak righteousness, if you don't speak who Yahweh Rapha is when you're healing, can I give you a basic scenario? And I want to ask your permission while you're giving me permission to give you an analogy of that. I'm going to bring back and conclude what I started with King David. Sabbath puts you in a place. Y'all tell me if y'all want me to give y'all an analogy about this speaking righteousness and unrighteousness and how it looks, attracting things to us, unbeknownst to us, yet because of us. Give me permission. Yes, tell us, Apostle. Just say that. But here's the catch. King David, King David, he, in fact, I told you, would say, Elohim prepares for me a table in the presence of my enemies. You read that in Psalms chapter 24, right? So when you're reading this in Psalms, is it 24 or 23? It's one of those two, 24 or 23. I'm drawing a blank. I know it's right in one of them two. Psalms 20, I think it's Psalms 24. Psalms 23, Psalms 24. The Lord is my shepherd, Psalms 24. Psalm 23. So in Psalm 23, the Lord is my shepherd. He prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. That's what Sabbath does, because Sabbath is one of the 7 days of your week, right? In Sabbath, everything is supposed to rest, even evil. So when you enter into Sabbath, though evil's been chasing you all week long, trying to make you eat your words of righteousness, trying to entrap you into different things that you should not be doing and get you off base and get you in temptations, though it's chasing you, evil, depending on your actions, has to cease when you make it your business to enter into Sabbath. Once you enter into Sabbath, there is already a table prepared for you. And the enemy chasing you, oh, the devil chasing me. He on my tail. He up my back. Well, you slide into Sabbath on the 7th day, and Yahweh will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemy, because your enemy has to decease from working to get you. Now, for some of y'all, there should be a mind blow 8 deep on your entry, because the whole world has to respond to Sabbath, unless those it's designed for don't. And then you leave yourself in disobedience to the instructions. So when David enters into Sabbath, everything chasing him has to submit to Elohim's will. And they're sitting like, shoot, I wish we could have got him to not go to Sabbath. We could have beat him up. Shoot, I wish we could have got him to not go into Sabbath. We could have kept him out there. Shoot, he done slipped into Sabbath. Now we got to watch him like Pac-Man. Y'all remember the game Pac-Man? Remember Pac-Man? Do y'all remember Pac-Man? Mrs. Pac-Man?
Yep.
And the ghosts are chasing him all around. And then when he gets that power pellet, them ghosts got to go the other way. They're still on the game, aren't they? Nobody, just me, Junior Pac-Man.
Yeah, that's good.
You get that? So while you're chasing in and you eat that pellet called Sabbath and you sit in it, you sit in Elohim's presence, your enemy has to cease and watch you be restored. And the worst thing for the enemy is a refreshed you. Say that out loud. Say, the worst thing for the enemy is a refreshed me.
The worst thing for the enemy is a refreshed me.
And so if you're getting refreshed and your enemy has been chasing you, and he thinks he's finally got you, and then you slide in the Sabbath, and then he's got to watch you restore everything he just exasperated from you. He's like, man, this joker can't do nothing about it. He knew where his power came from. She knew where her power came from. She done slipped in the Sabbath. Now, why are we talking about that? Because when you slip into Sabbath, according to Isaiah chapter 58, verses 13 and 14, if you come in the Sabbath, don't seek your own pleasure. If you honor that day, Call it honorable. Call it a delight. Honor Elohim in it. Don't seek your own pleasure. Don't seek your own entertainment. Don't speak your own words. Then Yahweh will ride you upon the high places of the earth. And the enemy of your faith has to watch Elohim do that for you, because they were trying to drag you through the mud. They were trying to drag you down into hell. They were trying to drag you down into condemnation. They were trying to drag you down into depression. But when you speak his words and operate in his capacity, or his designed way of life, his righteousness, you're free of any attack of the enemy. And as long as you speak righteousness, because you have known my name, I'll deliver you in trouble. Because you have known my name, Yahweh Rapha, your body, they said you got cancer, just speak my name. I'll deal with the cancer. Cancer won't kill you. Now, before y'all get deep and think, oh, how he say something like that, you need to understand sickness doesn't kill you. An infirmity does not kill you. Now, in our world, for all of my doctors that are on this call and on this broadcast, all of my nurses with doctorates in nursing that are on this broadcast, y'all know me well enough to know what I'm saying. So I'm aware of what I'm saying. For this natural realm, for the sake of science, we put down what the latest ailment or the litany of ailments was at the time they deceased. But I promise you, though we've been nurtured to say this is the cause of death, that's not the cause of death. When Elohim takes his breath out of your body, if you happen to collect all these things along your life's journey because you were nasty, or you didn't, you breathed in everybody's face and let everybody have, spittle around you, and they got COVID and they got this disease and that disease, or you're eating too much sugar in your diet and eating all these other mechanics and ingredients that are artificially formulated that don't adjust well in your body, and now you got cancer and feeding it sugar every day, and you wonder why it metastasizes and all these different things. You can still have all of those items and they not be the cause of your death. Every person who passes from this planet leaves because Yahweh took his breath.
That part, sir.
We, in our lack and our limited, can only say at the time of death, this is what we believe was so egregious in their system that we believe this is what expired them. That's what the physicians have to write down. That's what the coroners have to do. And then they do it by, they do the, what's the thing once they're done? Autopsy. That's the word I want. They do the autopsy, and then they run through a litany of things that could have affected you. And then the science puts it together where if you do this with that and this with that, we have found that people with these and that together don't usually make it or have this low quality of life. So again, watch, if you have been diagnosed with something and you do not listen and you do not make that diagnosis yours. What do I mean by that? When you and I get a diagnosis from a doctor, we get a report from our attorneys, we get a report from our accountants, and it may be in a blight, it may be in a negative, it may be in a catastrophic situation, catastrophic scenario, or even a terminal, as the physicians say, a terminal diagnosis. If you don't make it yours, you can identify and acknowledge it. That's what they are saying from a probe and an examination of you. But if he's in you, like Yahweh Rapha, they're saying this cancer has attached itself to me, but you are Yahweh Rapha, my creator and my healer. Yahweh, my attorneys are telling me these issues with that are causing me a financial fight in court, but you are my provider. I need you. I know you got this. Now he gives you instructions on what to do. He puts you in touch with people who know how to bring that comfort, bring those things to you. But it's because you know him, those things don't overtake you. I know people right now living 30 years with supposed cancers that should have taken them out here, recessed, reinvigorated, and everything you could possibly think. Oh, you should be dead. Whatever the diseases were, you should be dead. How you living this long? How'd you come out of all of that? Because they knew his name and they didn't take that thing to be there. So when you speak, you have to realize you give the enemy a weapon formed against you. So just because you've been infirm does not mean that you are going to die from the infirmity and or that diagnosis. It also does not mean that you'll have the worst possible scenario on that scope of things that can happen under the care of that particular infirmity. Because you can still live a full life if you know who he is to you. And you declare it and you speak it on a regular. See, because when you speak, oh, my rheumatism, oh, my diabetes, oh, my arthritis, the enemy is just forming that weapon. He's saying, oh, they don't know that Elohim will heal them, especially you children of God. You know, you want to drink anointing oil and think that's going to heal you, and sling holy oil and think that's going to heal you. You live by his word, and his word may be his name. His name is a word. So at end of day, if you know who he is and you declare who he is and you speak who he is and you speak his words of rightness and righteousness, you are telling him you control. You are manifest in this body. You are manifest in my family. You are manifest in my situation. You are manifest in my court hearing. You are manifest in my finances. You are I know your name because Psalms 91, because verse 14, 15, because you have known my name, I will deliver you. Don't matter what has you bound. No matter what has you down. Yahweh Rapha, you're my healer. Yahweh Yireh, you're my provider. Yahweh Uzai, you are my strength. Yahweh Nisi, you are my banner and my attorney. Yahweh Makadeshkim, you cleanse me from all the nasty wrong I've ever done, and I get it now. You are my cleaner. You are my Yahweh Sidkanu, you are my righteousness. Yahweh Tsabaoth, you have your angels camped around about me. Y'all know y'all sing that song. Jesus, build a fence all around me every day, right? That's what you want him to do. That's called Yahweh Nisi, Yahweh Tsabaoth, the Lord of the heavenly hosts. When you invoke him, the heavenly hosts know you are acknowledging them, and you have angels around you right now. So let me get to the point of what we're talking about. Weapons formed. The enemy doesn't have a particular weapon to use against you until they recon you and they observe you. Now, it's funny because the weapons formed against you are only when you are clearly on their opposition side. So as long as you are living in the world and living for the world, there's no weapons being formed against you, because you're living in the generational curse line that you were born in, and you're giving over to those proclivities and propensities. And that's all that the enemy of faith needs for you to do, is that. So he got you. He don't need you. He ain't got to make no weapon. He ain't got to use no military might on you, because you're his. You are the child of that element. So when you understand that, the enemy, if you in sin, ain't forming a weapon against you. He got you. But the moment you leave that world and you come into righteousness, the enemy got to do everything to get you back. Now he starts forming weapons against you. Remember, he thought he knew you. That's how he had you. But then you got Yeshua. You accepted his blood. You got cleansed from that old way. Yeshua is your new manager. I'm in love under new management. Yeah, right? Or like Miles J would say, I've been a fool for you. You gave me the runaround, but I I've been a fool. Watch this. For you, watch this. But it's over now. And when you say it's over now, the enemy of your faith knows it's over. You've told Elohim, I belong to you, Yeshua. Take me, guide me, teach me, show me how to live like you live in this world, to literally not take on the temptations that will be presented to me. And once you change, the enemy don't know how to get you no more. So what does he got to do? The enemy of faith got to just watch you. And guess what, y'all? This ain't the devil. None of y'all is so special that the devil is sitting on your door. At least not Hashatan. There are devils. But y'all think that the devil is omnipresent. Like he can be fighting with me and fighting with you at the same time. Can't happen. I don't know where that joke at. Could care less. He ain't my problem. He's not my problem. So you worried about the devil? Oh, the devil always up my back. No, the devil ain't up your back. You don't even know where he at. Was it really him, or was it you not knowing your position and giving evil a go at you because of the stuff you've said? The things you let yourself be in. So when you realize that my life in him requires that righteousness. So when the enemy is your counterpart, he is your opposition, he has to form something unique that attracts you, that can make you also feel contrary to the life you're in, and then get you to come out and come back out in that world and play and stay. And then he'll find a way to bless you in that world to make you not see the world of righteousness is where you need to live. Are we making sense to you guys today?
Yes, sir.
So now watch this closely. Make sure everybody's got microphones to come up if they want them. So listen to this very clearly. When you see that you've given your life to Messiah, the enemy can't do nothing about it. But watch how you live out of it. So they recon you. You got many angels who cover you. You also have many agents of evil who are reconning you, looking to see when you're not strong in the faith, looking to see, like Ishai, you don't know what to say. That's why evil used the serpent and said, did not God say? Now, Ishai was cool. Adam was cool. They was in the garden. It wasn't until she said, yeah, we shouldn't touch that fruit and we shouldn't eat it. He was like, oh, did you say touch? Child, you can touch it. See, God was playing with you. The fact that she said not touch the fruit gave him the understanding you don't know your position. Because if you knew your position, you would know you can touch it, just don't eat it. You are on the ground to till the ground. That means take care of the garden. You got to touch it. Just don't eat it. So you can be in the midst of evil and not consume it. And so the church has y'all all shook that you can't be in an environment where evil seems to be prominent and you still not consume the evil. That's a revelation for somebody. It just hits you like, ooh, oh my goodness. Yes, exactly. So many of y'all have been told, oh, be ye separate, saith the Lord. It meant be ye separate, meaning on the opposite side of doing unrighteousness. And then they throw in, oh, don't let your good works be evil spoken of. Well, if I'm in an environment that I got to go to do the work in, and that environment is predominantly driven by the world and evil, as it were, my righteousness in there becomes a lamp to that dark place. Now, if I'm working in that environment and it's all evil, and because you, Mr. Christian, was so afraid to go over there because you didn't really have confidence in your faith that you felt you would buckle under that 95% occupancy of evil, I'm not. I'm good in who I am. I can walk through this evil. I can walk through the valley of the shadow of death, and I'm not worried about one damn thing in this environment. Get it? Damnable thing. You didn't like that? That was good. Y'all gotta learn. Y'all gotta learn these jokes, man. So when you don't know who you are, the Christian world who is playing with this, testing this, and doing these petri dishes about righteousness, and they're like, "Ooh, don't go over there. You might get infected. Don't go over there. You might catch a germ. Don't go over there. You might be." Well, if I'm in Him and I'm doing His righteousness, I'm not letting, by going over there, my good works be evil spoken of. I can't let the goodness in me not fully work out. Now, if I'm not letting the goodness in me fully work out and I'm compromising with it, now I'm letting my good works be evil spoken of. So when you compromise, that's good works being evil spoken of. Not being in a place where evil is reigning and you happen to have to go through there, and because you're in there, see, they over there with them sinners. They over there, they in there with them sinners doing that stuff. I bet you they in there doing that stuff. No, I have to go in here because my daughter or my uncle or my cousin's in the crack house and they're on crack. I'm going to get them out because they text me and said they can't handle it no more. So me going in the crack house does not mean I'm going to do crack. And sometimes, remember when I told you the enemy does recon on you? The enemy will use church people to recon, start rumor, frustrate the hell up out of you because you saw me go in the crack house to get my cousin who you don't know out. And when I came out with her, you thought I came out with a trick. Because you over there following me around, seeing what I'm trying to do, and you don't know this girl is my cousin. You don't know this effeminate young man who's crying out for help is my nephew. And you see him leaning on me and I'm leaning on them, and you smoke all around us. You think I've consumed. That's what the enemy can do. And he'll use that which says we're hanging out with you to do the recon. And then when you respond to the ignorance of your own peer in a way that's not righteous, because you don't have to respond. You went in to save someone. Why are they trolling you anyway? So if they trolling me and watch me, or maybe they wasn't trolling me, but they parked when I went in and say, "Hey, ain't that apostle going in there? Why are you worrying about why I went in? Oh, he ain't supposed to be in there. Oh," and then you just sat up. Let me see if he gonna come out. And you sit there for 20 minutes and 30 minutes, and I come out 30 minutes later having convinced them and told the drug dealer I paid off the debt that they had, and I done took them out, but it took us 30 minutes to get all that handled and brought them out the crack house. And you still sitting out there with wide googly eyes. Dear heart, you're being used of the enemy. That ain't nothing righteous. And then when you come out and say, "Ooh, and look at this effeminate guy," or "Look at this female, all clamored over him," I'm carrying them out. They are in a exhausted state of being. But now all your mind can think is the worst and say, "See, I told you he wasn't saved. I told you she wasn't saved. I told you the pastor was weird. I told you the deaconess was into something. See, look, see, God showed me stuff. See, God showed me, the spirit showed me stuff. I's a seer. I sees it. I'm a seer in the spirit." You're an accuser of the brethren. Now go figure out who you work for. So when you now find yourself bothered by that scenario to the point where you now going to take that and say, "You know what, brother and sister, why are you following me and why are you trolling me?" You shouldn't even worry about that, because you don't want to know nothing about that person who's trolling you, misassociating your good works in this situation. And now you're going to get frustrated with them and you start to cuss them out because it can make you mad, but you don't respond to it. That's an accusation. Take it to the Father. You go talk to him about it. He know why I'm here. It don't look right. You was holding them, and I saw you walking out, and your hand slipped down on their butt. Did you know they was tripping, and I had to grab them by the butt to hold them up? That's all it was. There was no trying to grab their butt. It was a necessity to grab their butt. Oh, y'all don't like this conversation? I've lived through this. And so now this person's got you frustrated and upset, and you ready to go cuss them out. You will now let your good works be evil spoken of, because they're going to say, well, it shouldn't have upset you then if you coming over here and did, and I done told you, and you done told me, and bro, you need to get back up before I punch you in your forehead. And you know what, bro, says, hey, yo, y'all go do you. I don't need to know nothing about you but Christ and him crucified. And right now, I don't see Messiah crucified on you. But I do see the spirit of accusation. You never inquired why I'm here, what I'm doing, or what this person needs, or why they're sitting here slumped over in my arms, on my chest, me carrying them on my back, and them acting goofy or doing whatever it is they do because they're still under the influence. You just assuming. And if I get upset with you behind that, I'm wrong. Matter of fact, I got to forgive me because you don't demonstrate any of the attributes of Messiah. Because if you saw that, what you saw, you would have come over and helped me with this person. Instead, you just wanted to see what I would do. I bet you they take them, they take advantage of them. I bet you. Watch. Shh. Come here. Get behind the car. Get behind the car. Come over here. No, don't be seen. Don't let them see you. Don't let them see you. Are y'all all right with the story? I'm just talking about weapons formed against you.
Facts.
So now when you look at these things and you understand how these things happen, you, that person, can become offended that that person, supposed to be another brother and sister in the faith, is actually trolling you. Like, why are you even trolling? Why are you even here? Did you even see what happened? Do you know how I ended up in there? Have you seen what I'm doing on my phone to help? Did you know that I got a call from the owner of the building saying that my family member was in here and my family member was being drugged in here, and cried out to that person saying, help me, call my uncle, call my brother, call my cousin. You didn't see any of that, did you? You just saw me going in there and coming out with them, and they induced, doped up, acting like doped up people acting, and you thinking we are both participating in this together. Really? That's not Messiah. That's not any of the attributes of Messiah. So now, once you see that type of activity, once you see that type of action, once you see that type of scenario in that person, you got to realize if you bite that, the enemy is forming a weapon against you. Because at that moment, I have to speak his rightness. Bruh, sis, I'm sorry you feel that way, but please, you go talk to the Father about what you think you see. Before you go tell this to everybody in the world, go talk to the Father before you think you know what you see. Okay? And then I got to go on and not be upset about it and finish the work that I came to do. So if I bite back and fight back in that moment, now my good works will be evil spoken of. So now, how do we not let the enemy form weapons against us? Be careful what you say in your crises. Be careful what you say in moments of preposterous accusations. Sometimes your silence with an accusation of ignorance or malice or maliciousness or hateration from a person you thought was your brother in the same faith or your sister in the same faith. When these things turn left, you got to realize Who is this recon from? Who's watching this? What are you perceiving from this watch? So the enemy of your faith recons your words. And though you might be in a good state, you're doing a good thing, be very careful speaking and operating in concepts of the knowledge of good and evil. And remember that in the way of the world, you still speak from the word of righteousness every day and every chance you get. You only speak. So this is one of the ways a weapon can be formed against you. The enemy reconning an unsuspecting person who's living freely. And in some cases, when I tell you Christians, y'all talk too much, or we do way too much, it's because we'll be going through a good couple of days and suddenly we feel like, man, this is just great. I have no pressures, no stresses. And then we get loose with our lips and we start saying stuff, feeling like we empowered, feeling like we entitled. And now our confidence can turn into conceit. And then we just start saying stuff like, I got this. And the enemy like, oh, then they ain't did nothing wrong today. They did nothing wrong today. But listen, hey, come here, Spam. Come here, Imp, come here. Look. They think they got this. Hey, let's keep them feeling and thinking and laying stuff out in front of them that make it look easy, but just put some slippery on it. Yeah, because then they'll think they can walk on it. They don't realize we're going to just keep slowly adding slippery to it. Yeah. See, that's how they form weapons against you. It's just a gradual, careful, meticulous, recording of your words, your actions, and your posture. Man, why are you talking all this spiritual guru stuff? I want to tell you, most of you, y'all need to shut your mouths. You talk too much. One of the things I loved about, it was very interesting to me when I went to Jamaica. Well, I go to Jamaica a lot, y'all know that. And I got a lot of Jamaican peers. But I was in Jamaica and just sitting there. I wasn't saying anything. And I was just observing in the marketplace. I think I was in Christiana. It was in Christiana. The Christiana or Mandeville. And this person was talking to this other person, but so many people had the same temperament. And it was so, to me, aggressive. But the aggression in the conversation was received and then reciprocated with same aggression, but it was an endearing dialogue. I looked over and another person with that same level of aggression was talking to another person, but not endearingly. It's just the language sometimes under emotional surge can come off hard, aggressive. You know what I mean? And it's like, so people are like, oh my God, the man went across the street. Oh my God. It's just like, bro, why are you tripping? He walked across the street. He just walked. It's okay. He walked across the street. Yeah, he forgot to pay, but he's right there. We can get him. He's across the street. So I was talking to one of the bishops and they were like, until you said that, I didn't realize we can do that, because he'd been back and forth to America a lot and living in America. And it's like, I lived this life and I just saw that. Many of us don't realize that the way we say things attract certain types of attention. It may be even endearing, but the vitriol, the angst, the push that comes with it. It's like, do you even know what you're saying? Why are you so angry saying a compliment? The enemy plays in those gray areas. Why are you trying to give a compliment, but making a slick statement on the backside with some shade? The enemy plays in those gray areas. They might not get it today, but they'll start forming a weapon. All right, we got a new piece of material on them today. They said this way, they did this that way. It's showing us that they don't know the God that they serve. Okay, good. Hold that over here. Put that over here. Let me get that into the melting pot so we can start making a weapon with that. So when we talk about weapons being formed, this is one of the ways those weapons are made. Now, for the theologians who think that I've taken this completely out of context, I'm going to put everything back in content. That was one of the ways I was instructed to remind you all that the enemy of faith forms weapons against you, not the only way. And the passage of Isaiah chapter number 54, verse 17, does in fact give us, if you read up a few verses, like go up to verse 12, and matter of fact, read the whole chapter, you'll see Yahweh is telling you, when you're in me, I need you to know, no matter what they form, I got you, it won't work because you're in me. And if you're only speaking my words, the people that I create, do you know that? Let's go to Isaiah 54. Here we go. Watch this. Isaiah 54. Look at it on screen. Here we go. Pay attention. Isaiah 54, verse number 13. And all your children, Yahweh says to Israel, shall be taught of Yahweh, and a great shall be the peace, the shalom of your children. Verse 14. Watch this. Watch this. In what, y'all? What's that word? Can somebody tell me what that word is? In righteousness shalt thou be established. Thou shalt be far from oppression, for thou shalt not fear. For it shall not come near you. Terror shall not come near you. Verse 15. Behold, the enemy is surely going to gather together about you. But when you're in righteousness, it won't be me making them gather. I'll read it again. Behold, they're going to surely gather together, but not by me. Can y'all understand this? Can I speak to y'all prophetically? Many of y'all don't realize that the enemy of your faith is surely going to gather against you. Don't think because you saved, the enemy's not going to gather against you. It's just that because you're saved, when it does gather against you, it won't be Yahweh employing them to do it. And now you know if he's not the one employing them to do it, you Gucci. Just stay in him. Don't flinch. Don't flinch. Don't flinch. Just stay in him. Just stay dressed in his rightness. Somebody say, surely they're going to gather.
Surely they're going to gather. They're going to gather.
So watch what he says here. Look back at the passage, Isaiah chapter number 54, verse numbers 15. Behold, they shall surely gather together. But Yahweh says, but not by me. Look at verse 15, part B. Whosoever shall gather together against you when you're in righteousness, verse 14, back to 15, shall fall for your sake. Verse 16, behold, this is what I love, y'all. Look at this. Behold, I created the smith that blows the coals in the fire. Let me read it again. Yahweh says, I created the smith, the ironsmith, that blows the coals in the fire to keep the fire hot so that it can melt the metals. I created, verse 16, the smith that blows the coals in the fire and brings forth the instrument of his work. Semicolon. I have created the waster who uses that instrument to destroy. So I created the maker of the weapon. I'm also the creator of the user of that weapon. So I'm telling you, verse 14, in righteousness you'll be established. Verse 17, no weapon that is formed. By verse 16, the smith that blows the coal in the fire, or the instrument that he brings out, or the waster that uses that instrument. Verse 17, none of those weapons that are formed against you are going to prosper. Verse 14, in my righteousness. Back to 17, no weapon that is formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against you in judgment, you in righteousness shall condemn. This in righteousness is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and the servants' righteousness is of Elohim, says Yahweh. So the point is, when you speak righteousness, there is no fuel for the enemy. There is no tool for the enemy to make. Yeah, they're always going to gather against you. They're always going to look to see how you operate, and they're always going to look to see if you took a shortcut. You don't mean it. You half-hearted about it. You're not really convicted on your conviction. They're always going to be looking at you to see one way or another what can be done to carry back a piece of sliver of metal to go back in their pot that they're blowing the coal under, so they can form a weapon and then send somebody out with that weapon to destroy you. But if you're in my righteousness and you're only speaking my righteousness, no weapon they form is going to prosper. It won't have enough to hold up because you're in me. And your righteousness is of me, not your own self-righteousness from your knowledge of good and evil. Well, Zion, I hope that was edifying to anyone today. Very short program, but it's well, not very short program, but it is what it is. I hope that is something that you guys can consider and look at and make yourselves remember. Don't be a participant in the weapons formed against you. Always learn to speak Elohim's word. Remember this. In order to not be a participant in forming a weapon against you, though you don't think you are sometimes, filter everything you're going to say through the word you have in your heart before you speak it out your mouth. Faith. It's an interesting thing. Faith is what Elohim's word says about any situation you're in, and your or my belief in that word, his word of righteousness, my belief in that word, that when I apply that word to the situation, his word will not return to him void, but will accomplish the thing whereunto it was sent. So for the enemy, in one instance, at least this instance, using you as a participant, can't form a weapon if you give him no ammunition. Righteousness annihilates evil ammunition. They're going to gather against you no matter what. Every day you in righteousness, some evil is lurking in the shadows, waiting to see you slip, waiting to see you fall. Just like that person across the street when I went to that crack house to get this person out. Just sitting there lurking, waiting. How did you end up at this particular location? Well, it's a big world. I could be wherever I want to be. You're right. I get that. But if you see me and you know me, come talk to me. Ask me why I'm there. You sat there and told me you watched a whole hour of me getting this person out, and I know exactly what was done. And then you went and told somebody, and by the time they told the next person, they got back to me. I'm fondling this woman coming out of a drunken stupor, trying to take advantage of her because she's drunk. You didn't know she was my relative. You didn't know she was falling down. You didn't know I had to hold her in a certain way because the clothes we had on, it was coats and jackets. And therefore, my hands are going to be wherever they got to be to hold her up and get her out of that space while they've changed their mind. But no, you threw all those allegations and all those accusations out there and just let them run in the rumor reel until somebody threw something on the wall to see what stuck and made sense. And then you became a weapon used. So don't let yourself be frustrated when people get used of the enemy by what you say in response to the enemy. Well, it seems like only me and Janet Lindo. Hey, Minister Green, how you doing? I want y'all to get this. I really want y'all to understand this, because this is what we need to do. No weapon. Somebody say, I'm not going to be a participant in weapons formed against me. Say it. I'm not going to be a participant in weapons formed against me.
I'm not going to be a participant in weapons formed against me.
Amen. All right, moderators, check my screens, please. Well, I hope that you guys have enjoyed and had a good day and a good time. It is that opportunity for us to get going. And we just gave you all the announcements we had. Remember, we'll be back here again on this coming Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for this program called The Proceeding Word, a new topic, a new subject matter to discuss to help you practically live as a kingdom believer in this world that Elohim has made. And we want you to know how to operate rightly without being super spiritual and goofy, thinking you are being right in him. Don't forget also, we're here on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Darash Kingdom Ministries, our Bible study midweek. And then, of course, our Bible book club on that Thursday night at 7 p.m. And then we are in our Sabbath keeping until we get to our Morrow After Sabbath service, which is going to be here as well. Those of you in Clubhouse, if you are with us right now, you are actually in our Proceeding Word room. We also have another room called the Bible Book Club. I hope that you would go look to join that one. And then we have another house, they call it on Clubhouse now. We have another house called the Darash Kingdom Ministries, DKM Ministries, DKM, Darash Kingdom Ministries. We hope that you would join those houses so that you, when we go to speak in those houses under those subjects, you can get notifications and participate if you so desire to have a greater study experience in his word. Well, I'm going to let you guys go and know that I love and care for you each dearly. Remember too, April 21st is coming up on you fast. The Feast of Pesach, the Feast of Hag HaMatzah, the Feast of Hag Bikurim. You want to be ready for them and all that goes along with them. Start putting this in your mind, preparing your time. Get your time off from work. Get your time off from work. Get your children out of school. Be home with your family in that time, in those days, for those hours, and let him get glory out of our lives as only he can, and impute in our lives those things necessary for us. Remembering always that we do not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yahweh, who is our Elohim. This is yours truly, Apostle B.W. Jones. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And now we're going to let you go.
If you need truth, this is the place for you. Don't need to complicate it. It's best to keep it basic. Open the book, the word itself approved. He's Alpha and Omega, the answer since the early ages. What you should do is learn about the greatest. Just so you know, our door is always open. Let's study together instead of debating. Share our differences, let love heal all that's broken.